It's me, Wayne Winding Eagle. Been about 2 weeks since I did a story time, but unfortunately, the animal that we had last week, as lovely as it was and as truthful as it was, unfortunately there really wasn't too many stories about the snail. But this week's power animal of the week is the mouse. And I found some really interesting information about the mouse. Found a really cool story. Now, I will tell you that the story is a little bit long, but it's a really cool story, and it's something that we can all learn from, all of us. Let me start off by talking about the mythology of the mouse. As in most other worlds, mythology, the role of the mice in Native American folklore is usually based on their very small size. Sometimes, as in the case of the Hopi hero warrior mouse, or in the children folk tales, from many different tribes, mice prove that size does not matter as much as courage and persistence. In other tales, the small size of a mice enables them to succeed at tasks where others had failed. Even the important mythic role of fire stealer in some tribes. And in the Blackfoot tribe, mice are held in special status, being considered the brothers of mankind for their legendary role in giving humans leadership over the animals. But in some Northwest tribes, mice are associated with witchcraft. Mice are also used as clan animals in some Native American cultures, such as the Hopi, whose field mouse clan is called Pisha. Now, the story that I'm going to tell is a Blackfoot legend, our brothers to the north. The name of the story is called Why Blackfeet Never Kill Mice. Now, we as some people do have a tendency to look at mice and wonder why they're here, and sometimes they annoy us and scare us. But in this case, the Blackfoot Nation considers the mouse a very regal animal. And this is the story of why the Blackfoot, our brothers and sisters of the North, will not kill a mouse. And the story starts off like this. There was much quarreling among the animals and the birds. You see, the bear wanted to be chief under Old Man, Great Spirit. And so did the beaver. Almost every night they would have a council and quarrel over it. Beside the bear and the beaver, there were other animals and also birds that thought that they had the right to be chief. They couldn't agree, and the quarreling grew worse as time went on. Some said the greatest thief should be chosen. Others thought the wisest one should be the leader, while some said the swiftest traveler was the one that they wanted. So it went on, and until most of all of them became enemies instead of friends. And you could hear them quarreling almost every night until Old Man came along that way, the Great Spirit. He heard about the trouble. I forgot who told him, but I think it was the rabbit. Anyway, He visited the council where the quarreling was going on and listened to what each one had to say. It took until almost daylight, too. He listened to all, every bit. When they had finished talking and quarreling, the quarreling commenced as usual. He said, "Stop!" And they did stop. Then he said to them, "I will settle this thing right here and right now." He then, so that's where there will be no more rows over it forever. Had to get something. He opened his paint sack and took out a small, polished bone. He held it up to the firelight so all might see. And he said, "This will settle the quarrel. You all see this bone in my right hand, don't you?" They all replied, "Yes." "Now watch the bone in my hand, so they are very quick because they are very quick and cunning." The old man began singing the gambling song and slipped the bone from one hand to the other, and so proudly, and they were all so puzzled. Finally he stopped singing and held the hands and both shut tight with both of the backs up. "Which hand holds the bone now?" he asked them. Some said it was the right hand, and others claimed it was the left that held it. Old man asked the bear to name the hand for which he held the bone. And the bear did. And when the old man opened up the hand, it was not there. He had asked for the right hand. Old man smiled a little and began to sing and again passed the bone. He looked at Beaver. "You are smart. Name the hand that holds the bone in this time." The Beaver said, "Well, that is your right hand. I saw you put it there." Old man opened up his right hand before the Beaver's eyes, but the bone wasn't there. Again, everybody laughed, especially the bear. "Now you see," said the old man, "that this is not as easy as it looks. But I'm going to teach you all to play the game. And when you have all learned, you must play it until you find out who the cleverest at it is playing. Whoever that is, he shall be chief under me forever." Some were awkward and said they didn't care much who was chief. But most of them learned to play pretty well. First the bear, and the beaver tried it, but the beaver beat the bear easily and held the bone for ever so long. Finally, the buffalo beat the beaver and started to play the mouse. Of course, the mouse had small hands and was quicker than the buffalo, quicker to see the bone. The buffalo tried hard, for he didn't want the mouse to be chief, but it didn't do him any good, for the mouse won in the end. It was a fair game, and the mouse was named chief under the agreement because he had the bone. He looked quite small amongst all the rest, but walked right into the center of the council and said, "Listen, brothers. What is mine is to keep and mine to give away. I am too small to be your chief, and I know it. I am not warlike. I want to live in peace with my wife and my family. I know nothing of war. I get my living easily. I don't like to have enemies. I'm going to give my right to be chief to the man that the old man has made like himself. That settled it. That made the man chief forever. And that is why he is greater than the animals and the birds. That is why we never killed the mice people. You saw the mice run into the buffalo skull, of course. There's where they have lived and brought up their families ever since the night the mouse beat the buffalo playing the bone game. Yes, the mice people always make their nest in the head of a dead buffalo people ever since that night. Our people, the Blackfoot, play the same game even today. See, the war eagle took from his paint sack a small, polished bone. He sung just as an old man did so long ago. He let the children try to guess the hand at the bone as the animal people did that fateful night. But like animals, they always guess wrong. With that story being said, according to the Blackfoot, we as mankind are the chief of all the mice people, the buffalo people, the deer people, all of our brothers, all of our sisters. We are the ones that make the decisions because we are chief. Now, I might not look like a chief. You might not look like a chief. But according to the mice people, the only one above us is the old man, the Great Spirit. That is an honor that was given to us many, many moons. With that thought, thank you, Wadu, and may the Great Spirit always be with you and bless you. I am Wayne Winding Eagle.
If you enjoyed today's story about the mouse, come and join us at a Shaman's Way Facebook group.